Stay, little Valentine.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Today is my day, a brand new beginning.
This is Talk Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits. Welcome. This is a show that I do. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior with my co-host Susan Levin, and we have a great show for you today. If you are involved in sales, you're going to want to stick around and hear Ursula Mentjes, and she's going to talk about her new book, Selling with Synchronicity. And we also have Adam Timm a little later on, and he is a 911 dispatcher who can really help you reduce your stress. So when you're a 911 dispatcher, you're probably dealing with stress all the time, and he's an expert in that. So welcome. This is Talk Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits, and we want to show you how to get out there and talk about what you do best. And this is latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior, and Susan Levin, my co-host, is on the line. And Susan, are you there? Is she there yet? Okay, I'm waiting for Susan to come on. Okay, Susan, are you there? I'm not hearing Susan yet. Oh, okay. Well, if you are an expert in what you do and you want to get out there and speak, I can tell you from my background as a journalist, which is doing celebrity interviews and working for major magazines, that when I needed an expert for a celebrity profile, I would always look at names that were already in the media or names that I had heard. Maybe even if you were an expert in your local small town paper, I might pull that up and consider you as an expert that I want to interview for, say, Woman's World or Red Book or one of the magazines that I would write for at the time. So there are so many things that you can do to establish yourself as an expert. If you're a coach, a therapist, if you've just written a book, if you own a small business, if you know everything in the world there is to know about vacuum cleaners, and you can just get those tips out into the world, then you are an expert in what you do. And there's ways that you can contact talk show hosts and producers and get the word out there. So I hear Susan on the line. Are you there, Susan?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
You were calling me, and I was trying to call you all, and I couldn't get through.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, well, here you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Hi. So, how are you doing today?
We're all fine, and Susan is head of speaker services. And Susan, I'll let you say a few words about that because you're the real expert in how to get out there and spread give people your expertise.
Yeah, I'm Susan Levin. Speaker Services is the game that we play here since 1992, where we've been supporting professional people and authors and entrepreneurs and experts in growing their business and income through speaking. And I'm happy to be on this call today. Usually I'm in the studio, and you see my face. Perhaps you're seeing it on the photo in front of you. And I'm home because I have some back problems, but I'm sitting at my desk and I'm talking to you. So I just wanted to share with you the vision of this show, Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits. And that is, I feel that everybody's an expert in their field and they have tons of information to pass along. And we would like to support people and encourage professionals and authors and entrepreneurs to give them permission to just say yes, to get out there and start speaking, because we feel in all our years of being in the business of speaking, that speaking is a great way to grow your practice. And it may take a little while to get to, a level of being a professional, but it doesn't really matter. Just speak what you're passionate about and what your expertise is.
And one of
So
the great things about Speaker Services, Susan, the speakerservices.com is what we found is that people can actually get out there and get their feet wet by speaking for free, right? And they can be either a free or a fee speaker. And if you are a little hesitant to do it, or if you're terrified of speaking for free can be just a great way to start out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good way to get your message out there, whether you're talking to a group of 5 people or 100 people. Somebody in the audience will be attracted to what you're speaking about. One of the things that often comes up, Jean-Noel, the questions that you and I get asked are, how do I get started? Or give me, some feedback. How do I, be a better speaker? And I found a post in LinkedIn, and I'm very active in LinkedIn, and one of the questions was, how do I get started? What's the best thing that you could share with me? And then in LinkedIn, in this group, they talked about that, and people gave feedback, and it was called...
that article by Diane DeResta? Is that what?
No, I'm skipping to the LinkedIn group.
Oh, the Seth Godin story, right? That one?
No.
Oh, okay.
The other one.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about that other post as well, but I wanted to. This seemed to work better right at this point. It's in Professional Presenters, Speakers, and Trainers group in LinkedIn, and the question was, what's the most important thing a speaker should know in order to make a success at speaking? And what do you think some of the responses are?
There was a little bit of interference on the line. Could you say that question again? Say it once more.
I hear it. I know.
That's okay. Just repeat it one more time.
I said, the question was, what is the most important thing a speaker or would-be speaker should know in order to make a success of speaking? And I was saying, what do you think some of the responses are?
That's really interesting. Yeah. Let me take a guess here. That's a really interesting question. What should they know? It's a really broad question. They should probably know how to narrowcast a little more so they don't ask such a broad question, right? But of course, me, I would say focus on what you do and the benefits that you offer people, right?
That's great. And another thing that people, I think, should be aware of, and when they come to us, we always say, be authentic. Don't speak anybody else's talk. Speak your own. Because some people get canned talks that are already prepared for them, and how inauthentic is that?
Right.
People want to be connected to us.
But what we find, one of the things I think we find in our coaching, tell me if you agree, it's like, how do you get to that authenticity? And one of the things that I know you and I have been finding is the first thing we ask people is, how are you different from all the other people that might be speaking about the same thing out there? And so sometimes people really, to be authentic, have to really kind of go deep, a little bit deeper into what they do, and really think about that, and to reach that authenticity, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely, and that goes along with being passionate. And people do not. It's not a good idea not to speak about something that you're not passionate about, because it comes across. And then again, I keep saying connecting, because connection is all about relationships, and that's the way business is being done these days. Via relationships. And you can't start selling to somebody, but if they get a feeling tone for you and feel that you're passionate about your subject. I remember somebody said recently, about, I think our show last week, we had a comment where they said, we can feel your passion oozing out. Or maybe it was on a teleclass that we did together. I think that was our friend from Florida, our groupie friend,
right?
Beverly. And she said, we can feel your passion oozing out all over the place. You're just exuding it.
Passion is so important. I agree with you, because, one of the things that I hear, and I know you and I have heard this as well, is sometimes people kind of approach it saying, well, what does the audience want to hear? What's hot right now? What's selling? And as
Right.
a book coach, a lot of times, like a lot of people who are experts, business experts, will have like a business coach who means well and is pushing them and is trying to get them to focus on the audience or the target market first. And I always say, just like you're saying now, write the book that comes from your heart. And you're saying a similar thing. Right.
Yeah, exactly here.
Right.
And I think another thing in order to be successful is that you need to practice. And if it means getting out in front of a few of your friends and trying out your stuff, great. One of the things that you and I were talking about earlier was people need video. And we were talking about how could people practice that way, especially if they had some assistance from a media coach like yourself. And they could. And we were talking about, well, how easy it is to do these days just to practice, and you can do it from your iPhone or your iPad, and then you go to a professional person who, does the video for you and puts the captions in and gets the music in there, and it looks very beautiful. But that's, also taking, how would you say it, taking down what you speak about and condensing it into a minute or two.
Right, because people need this for their websites, like to have a 1-minute clip on your website, 1 to 1.5 minutes on your homepage, or also on your meeting planner page. One of the things that you and I have been teaching people is basically 2 things about websites. How to have a homepage where people go, and we know that they're just going to stay for about 3.5 seconds before they decide, whether to get a cup of coffee or pick the kids up or, make an important phone call.
Right.
So the website really has to grab them. And that's one of the things we've been finding, that a lot of times people just don't make it clear what the benefits are, like what they can do for me when I come to their website. And then on the meeting planner page, we want them to have everything that a meeting planner would want to see to book them. And video would definitely be one of those pieces, right?
Right. So to sum it up, I would say that people need to be authentic, they need to be passionate, they need to be focused, they need to have They need to tell us what the problem is and how they solve it for the audience and what makes them different than anybody else, and get some professional video, get some media coaching, get some even speech coaching, presentation coaching if you need it. And we do offer those services, and if anybody needs a referral or would like I saw this word today from one of our colleagues in an e-zine, and she called it a discovery conversation.
That's
and
good.
I always call it, a complimentary session, but I like a discovery conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
So if anybody's interested, just email, you can email me, Susan, at speakerservices.com, or
me, Jean-Noel, at Jean-Noel. I'll spell that for you. It's JEANNOEL at earthlink.net. And yeah, we just kind of brainstorm sometimes with people. And, as a journalist, I'm always kind of asking, like, who are you and what do you do? And you'd be surprised, like, how many people really have to think about that, unfortunately. But it is hard. It is hard to focus on who you are and what you really have to offer when you're trying to, like, boil it down to, a 30-second or a minute, video. So it's always good to focus and get that opportunity to just remember that what your message is. And also, have confidence in the fact that you are an expert, even if you've never seen yourself as an expert before. Because a lot of times when you look at the people that are on CNN or are on in mainstream media or who have established themselves as bloggers that are experts, you could do that too. It's just going step by step. And there's really sometimes not that much difference between you and them, except that they have just gone out there and said, I'm the expert. And that's my identity, and I claim that. So there's always a place where you can start.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, we were talking about this yesterday. I saw a post from one of my colleagues. Her name is Diane DeResta, and she called it Why Public Speakers Fail. And it was an interesting discussion, and Jean-Noel and I were discussing it over the phone, and then we thought we'd like to talk to you about it today. And she says that why leaders fail or speakers fail is because they don't grow. They stay static. They feel comfortable in the place that they're at. But the old ways don't work anymore, where a speaker is standing up as a keynote speaker, the only speaker there, and being a talking head. And people fall away, they fall asleep, and they're not interested.
Do they want more interaction these days? Is that what it is?
Yeah, exactly. They want more interaction, and fortunately for us, the World Wide Web, the new technology has come about, and you know you're going to get left behind if you're not blogging, if you're not on social media, and we have so many ways of getting our message out there and connecting with people that we didn't have many years ago. So what, one of the ways is, social media, of course, has changed everything, and speakers engage with their audiences. They could use polling. They could ask them to raise their hands. They could do webinars where you could see each other. We even have Google Hangouts now, where you can go on and see one another and have 8 people or 9 people on there. And that's free through Google, which is incredible, and you can reach audiences. Another way is through tweeting. And I just noticed before we came on the call that I had put out that we were going to be coming on at 5 o'clock today, and LA Talk Live retweeted us.
That's great. And you really work LinkedIn, Susan. I have to say, I'm in awe of how you get your business from LinkedIn. And it seems like you have a technique, right, where you move it to sort of joining groups and you offer really helpful advice. And the next thing I know, you go like, oh, all these people called me from around the country. And, and you set up a phone conversation with them. I mean, that's just always amazes me.
Well, it's easy to connect with people.
Well, you do.
And go ahead, because I'm hearing feedback. I'm hearing myself speak back.
I say you certainly connect with people through LinkedIn. It's just amazing.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, but that's like you're saying, that's the new way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, and some of the other ways, that people can, professionals or speakers, and once again, I want to remind you, I'm not talking about professional speakers who are making $20,000 for speaking. I'm talking to you all out there who are entrepreneurs, who are experts in their field and want to grow their business and monetize it. And these are some of the ways that you can distribute your content. There's a lot of different media channels by podcasting, MP3 programs. I do that through the speakers community, and then which is our membership club. And then if people join, they get to listen to the MP3s of the experts. Or if they don't want to belong to that, they can purchase it. So I have a product. They do white papers and special reports. They do surveys. They do downloadable handouts like PDFs. To get, a YouTube, of course, is really big, and many of us have channels. Speaker Services has a channel on YouTube, and you could see a lot of the videos we've done for our people, and we'll be doing more.
Yeah, it's really all about video, isn't it?
It's what?
It's all about video these days, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. It is all about video. And we're really keen to offer video. We haven't done it in a while, and we found a really good resource from some colleagues of ours who we've been working with for many years. So any of those of you who are listening who need video, let us know. It's not a 3-camera shoot in front of an audience, but it's what we were just talking about before, where we could reach out to and do 1-camera shoots in front of, to put on your website, a welcome message or why you wrote your book or whatever it is you need. So reach out to Susan at speakerservices.com or Jean-Noel at I was going to say Earthlink, but it's gmail.com.
Jean-Noel at earthlink.net. And we're going to go to break now. And
when we come back, who are we going to talk to?
I've got Ursula Mentjes in studio right next to me here. And and she will be joining us. She has written an incredible book. If you sell for a living, you've got to stay around and hear Ursula tell how to sell with synchronicity, which is totally new. It even uses quantum physics. So we'll be back. You're listening to Talk Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits, and this is LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
If you believe, we will make it together. Planting a seed in my soul, our beauty will show. I'm taking a stand and making a
Hands can do incredible things. This is the sound of 326 hands playing Mozart. This is the sound of 10,942 hands showing appreciation. 64 hands building a house for the homeless. 142 hands swimming a triathlon. 18 hands winning the big game. And this is the sound of 2 hands helping to save a life. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's incredibly easy and effective. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Susie Pruden. And yes, you've seen me on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The Today Show. And I'm inviting you to join me every Monday from 3 to 4 for my new show, Mastermind Live. Join us as we introduce you to the new thought leaders of the world who will inspire you, support you, and guide you to your next level. So don't forget to tune into Mastermind Live exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Talk Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior. We're on latalklive.com, and my co-host, Susan Levin, is on the phone. She's not in studio today, but she's co-hosting from home. And Susan, would you like to say a few words about our in-studio guest, Ursula Mentjes, who is here with us?
Yes.
Because I know you've known Ursula for a long time, right?
Yes. And I'd also like to mention Lena Marquez, who that beautiful song we've been hearing in and out, a colleague of ours who gave us her song called The Seed. And I hope that it inspires you as it has inspired us. Welcome, Ursula Mentjes. We're so happy to have you on the call today.
Thank you, Susan and Gino. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming up and taking the time. I know you are probably the most busy person that I know in the world.
I don't know about that.
To keep up with you. Ursula and I know each other for many, many years, and she is the owner of and founder of Sales Coach Now. She's an inspirational speaker. She's an author of 3 books, and she's also a certified sales coach who specializes in NLP and helps clients double and triple their sales. And her latest book is called Selling with Synchronicity, the 7 inner shifts that make selling fun and easy. Very pleased to announce that, and guess what? I have 10 of the books, well, maybe 6 left that I bought, and I've been giving them to my clients and friends, and they love the book.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And Susan, Ursula and I were talking before the show,
Yes.
and I was so surprised to hear her say that speaking really terrified her when she first started out. I didn't know that. Could you talk a little bit about that, Ursula?
Sure.
Yeah, tell us, how did you overcome that?
Absolutely. And first of all, I want to say both of you, what a blessing. I love this show, and I'm so glad you're doing it and reaching out to people. And Susan, yay! Susan Levin, you've been one of my mentors in the speaking world since I started my business, and I'm so glad that our paths crossed when they did. And in the beginning of my speaking career, I had a deep, deep fear of public speaking. And Susan, I think you and I have talked a little bit about that, but it was, worse than death. Like for me, I was one of those statistics. Public speaking scared me. And, I didn't really think that I could grow my business that way, but I kept coming back to you, Susan, and you kept encouraging me, and I didn't talk about it a lot. I didn't talk about the fear. And Susan, I think your encouragement to, speak for free and get out there. And then I read something by Marianne Williamson, and she said, whether it's 1,000 people or 5 people, no matter what, you're going to impact somebody's life. And I started to realize that it really wasn't about me. That speaking was really about the people I was going to impact and the difference I could make in the world. And so I just realized finally I had to get out of the way.
That's amazing. And so now your first book was Selling with Intention, right?
Yes.
And now you've got a new book out.
Yes.
Let's hold it up.
Okay.
Selling with Synchronicity.
Yes.
And I was looking at it last night, and you say that you bring some of the laws of quantum physics into this, and you talked about QIFs, right?
Yes.
Right? So do you want to tell us that? Oh, the one thing that I really liked also was, so if you use these techniques, you feel more relaxed when you sell, right? And all kinds of good things, sell with more ease?
Absolutely. I mean, the 7 inner shifts are about the mindset shifts in your inner world. But I have a deep, fond interest in quantum physics, and I'm not an expert, but I think quantum physicists will even tell you they don't understand everything. What I do know, though, is that when you think about a client, sometimes they'll call, or sometimes they won't call. Or when you think great thoughts about a client, it's amazing how they turn into a long-term client, or that relationship expands. And when you have those negative thoughts, or like, oh, are they going to be my client? Or fear gets in the way, it's amazing how an appointment cancels or something happens. So I always feel like I tell my clients, be careful what you think about your prospects, because they're always thinking about you.
So true.
And, QIFs that are the idea that our thoughts, turn into, they shift, and they turn and they manifest into real world things. They actualize, so to speak. And it's not my word, it's a scientific term that I talked about in the book and some of the research that I did. And when you're thinking about your business or your clients, know that you're forming some sort of reality with that. And so if you want a successful business, you do have to think about having a successful business and imagine what that's going to look like.
That's a great way that you're explaining it, because those of us who have kind of been into metaphysics have always thought that thoughts are things, believe that. But you were talking in your book about QIFs and how quantum physics is starting to sort of be able to track particles and break them down and see that these particles actually become thoughts, that they arise from thoughts, right? But who would have thought that we could ever apply this to sales?
No, but in fact, what's interesting to me too is in the past it was a big deal if I talked about intention, like that seems sort of out there. And now we're talking about it at a scientific level. And I think people are ready to have that conversation because of all the great science that is coming out. We can apply it to sales, we can apply it to our lives. And what gets me excited is the more you apply it to your business and sales, the easier it is to be in business. But it doesn't mean you don't have to do the work. You still have to do the work internally and externally. Like I think people think it's this magic thing. And there is a lot of magic. Like I believe that business and life can be magical, but you got to study, you got to do the work, you got to apply it.
What gets you so excited about selling?
My mission is to help entrepreneurs and sales professionals make a lot of money so they can give back to the organizations they care about and live a great life. Because what I know is that whenever I talk to entrepreneurs, they want to make more money. And when I ask them why, it's usually about someone else. It's about the entrepreneur, it's about the nonprofits that they give money to, or the nonprofits that they want to start. It's about giving back to their family. It's about taking care of their family. And if they just had more money, what they would do. And I'm also president of NAWBO, California National Association of Women Business Owners,
Yes,
and we fight for public
congratulations.
policy in the state of California to keep small business healthy. I care about small business because I know when small business is working in this country, everything is working. So I get a little excited.
And I know, Susan, you had a question for Ursula too, didn't you?
Well, a comment. I live in the world of synchronicity, and just as soon as I think something, it happens. And today I put out my monthly e-zine, and I wrote the title of it was someone is looking to find what you have to offer, and that has been happening to us a lot with our practices here. And you've been helpful, too, as my biz mentor coach here. But no sooner did I put out this quote, which was from Louise Hay, and I got an offer and a Facebook note from a gal in San Diego who said, I would love to interview you as an expert for my group. I have speakers, authors, and coaches who want to know how to get on more stages, and of course I thought of you. And I go, oh God, this is so synchronistic. Here it is again, Well,
Susan, that's a great example. I think when you're in alignment, when you have clarity on what you want to show up in the world, and it's in alignment with your highest values and your highest good and what you're up to in the world, when you get that clarity and you commit to it, I think that's the big thing. A lot of people want something, but they're not willing to commit at a deep level because it does take some work.
Yeah.
But when you commit, the next step shows up, the next client shows up, and things that you can only dream of show up.
So how can we commit? I mean, like, in other words, if we are not committing to the fullest degree, how can we get to that place?
Yes, I call it burning the bridges. So first you have to be clear on what you want. And if it's a really successful business, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, or 6 figures for the first time, I want you to get really clear on the amount. How much is that? Write it down, break it down by the month. And then the commitment is really about doing whatever it takes. In all of my presentations, I ask people, how many of you would like to double your sales in the next 90 days? Everybody raises their hand. And then I ask, how many of you are willing to do whatever it takes to double your sales in the next 90 days? And not everyone raises their hand. But the ones who do are the ones I want to work with because they're ready to go to the next level. So you burn the bridge on your backup plan. You burn the bridge on letting it, have to be slow, and you get committed to just moving.
So is it about focusing on moving forward, sort of?
Well, it's, and I don't want people to get so much into action because first it's about clarity. It's about clarity and really getting centered on what that means and being calm about it and focusing on it. And then I tell people to take bold, inspired action. But not just bold action, because it's got to have that inspiration. And you get that, just like Susan was talking about. You might be driving down the freeway, you might write an e-zine, and all of a sudden that idea will come to you, and it's that next thing to do, which leads to that next client or opportunity or speaking gig.
So is it sort of like being aware of that stuff as it happens? Also, do you get into a synchronistic, like being aware of these synchronistic events?
Yes.
Sort of.
I do think the more aware you are, the more you'll see of them, and the more they start to happen for you. Because in our belief system, and I love studying beliefs, we can expand our belief system as soon as we see evidence of it. So as you get more synchronistic opportunities, you'll say, oh, look at the evidence of that. You'll see more of it, and that starts to expand for you.
Yeah, that seems so important. Susan,
that happened to us
yes.
Before the new year, and I shared this with Ursula, and I say us, meaning Jean-Noel and me. We were wanting to do bigger coaching packages, and Ursula was encouraging me and Jean-Noel to ask for more money for our expertise. She felt
please.
like we weren't charging enough. And out of the blue, and it's always unexpected resources that come to us. I got an email or a phone call from somebody in Canada who heard an MP3 that I did 7 or 8 years ago for another company for their program called Quantum Leap. And she said, as soon as I heard you speaking, I knew you were my coach.
Wow.
And we, were wanting higher end price, as I said, and we couldn't. It was hard for us to say it, but she named it, and she told us how fast she wanted to work, and named the days that she wanted to work and be finished by a certain date. And we just recently finished coaching with her, and she's now one of our speakers, also our first Canadian speaker, and we're very proud of her.
Another synchronicity that happened, and I've seen this happen a couple of times, is we've had a couple of clients where just the perfect speaking gig appeared for them. Like, one of them lived in kind of a remote place, and Susan just got a speaking gig for her about 30 miles away.
Wow.
And then we had another one who had been looking for exactly the kind of job kind of offer that popped up. So this synchronicity, we've really been seeing it happen. What else about synchronicity can we do to kind of bring it into our daily life and our sales?
Pay attention to your thoughts. I think this is the toughest one. As entrepreneurs, we can be sort of lone rangers and spend a lot of time alone. And that's the worst thing you can do. You got to get out. You got to get connected to people, have these conversations, get coaches, hang out with Susan and Jean-Noel so you can grow your speaking business, because that's where I think the magic happens. It happens in relationship with others, right? It's hard to find clients if you're watching TV sitting on your couch at home. It happens, but it happens once you're clear, once you get out there, once you start to make a lot of those connections. So I think managing those negative thoughts and continuing continue to focus on what you want. It's not, someone said, oh, it's just about positive thinking then. No, it's not just about positive thinking. It's about thinking about the right things and noticing when those negative thoughts come up and just noticing them. Oh, that's interesting, and let it sort of pass by, and then get refocused on what it is you really want.
So kind of being like a witness to your negative thoughts?
Yeah, but not attaching to them.
Right. I mean,
Jean-Noel, I just want to make sure before we go to break that we
Yes.
find out how people can connect with Ursula
Yes.
and about her upcoming event
Good,
as well.
good. Yeah,
so
tell us.
Tell us how you work with people.
Sure. Well, a lot of information is on the website, Sales Coach.
Okay.
Yeah, www.sales with an S, so salescoachnow.com. We actually had our first sales camp last week, so we have 2-day live events. And then you were referencing our big event that's coming up, Sales Coach Now Live 2013. We had over 300 people last year. This year I'm putting it out there. We're shooting for 500. And it's going to be an event about synchronicity and about meeting the right people and about coming together to gather and really support each other in collaboration. And there's going to be business happening in the room. I know that. I'm so excited about it, right?
Yeah, so if you can just get yourself to an event on synchronicity, guess what's going to happen, folks?
Right. Think about the group
Guess
intention.
what? And
This is
I
not
have
rocket science.
10 passes for it.
Oh, wow.
Because I
you
bought
do.
10 books.
How
And
can they
so
get
if
those?
anybody knows that they want to go, what's the dates again? April 24th and 25th?
April 25th and 26th.
25th and 26th.
And the website
Susan,
is salescoachnowlive.com.
And I know it's very reasonable also to attend, and you meet fantastic people and lots of resources, and Jean-Noel and I will be there as well. We'll be one of the vendor tables, so you can come and say hello to us.
Yes. And you know what I'm going to do, Susan? I meant to announce this if people do want a
Yes.
table, is that our table vendors, you are going to get time on stage. So I'm working out opportunities for you to promote what you're doing because I want to make it worthwhile for all my table vendors. So I meant to tell you that, but I think we can announce it here.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So salescoach.net,
salescoachnowlive.com
is the website.
Right.
And I know you work, you have groups going on, you have boot camps going on, you have monthly programs going on. So we're going to send people to your website to have a look-see, and then if there's a way that they want to connect with you, they can. And also Ursula is available to speak. And she's speaking all the time, and you can see her speaker listing on speakerservices.com, along with the video that we did for her some time ago, and all the different talks that she offers.
And that, in your website, speakerservices.com, has gotten me such amazing clients and opportunities. I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. You always tell me that, and I love to hear it. And it's a beautiful thing. You've been one of our longtime clients, and we so appreciate you.
It's mutual.
Taking time out of your busy day. I don't know how you do what you do.
You know what? I have a great team. We'll have to talk about that on another call. It's all about team, right? And that support.
Getting a team and delegating?
Yes.
Wow. Could do a whole show on that, right?
Yes. Yes, we could.
Hard for a lot of us solopreneurs, right? So, yeah, good tip. So I think we're going to go into a break pretty soon right now.
I think both.
We could now, yes.
Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much for being on the call. And when we come back, we'll be talking with Adam Timm, another one of our wonderful speakers. And he's also an author of a brand new book that he's going to be talking to us about.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Noel, you want to take us out?
Yeah, don't go anywhere because Adam Timm is a 911 operator who knows how to get rid of stress. So you're listening to Talk Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits with Susan Levin and Jean-Noel Bassior, and this is latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk.
Dance in the moonlight, pray for the rain. Welcome back the sunshine, like a rose spray.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hands can do incredible things. They made every sound in this piece of music. But nothing compares to using them to help save a life. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. Visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council. Hands can do incredible things. This is the sound of 326 hands playing Mozart. This is the sound of 10,942 hands showing appreciation. 64 hands building a house for the homeless. 142 hands swimming a triathlon. 18 hands winning the big game. And this is the sound of 2 hands helping to save a life. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's incredibly easy and effective. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Hi everyone, Chef Richard Petty here to tell you about LA Talk Live's new cookie show, Let's Do Lunch, with me, your host, Chef Richard Petty. Let's Do Lunch launches Saturday, January 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, tune in to Let's Do Lunch with me, Chef Richard Petty, Saturdays, 10 to 11 a.m., exclusively on LA Talk Live. We're more than just talk.
Welcome back to Talk Up Your Biz, Speak Your Way to More Profits. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior, and Susan Levin, my co-host, is on the phone, and this is, of course, latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk. And hi, Susan, are you there? Back from the break? Hopefully Susan is there. Susan, are you there? Can you hear us now? We may have some technical problems. Susan will be joining us in a few minutes. Hopefully we solve that. In studio today, I've got Adam Timm as my guest. And when I first met Adam, he was introduced to me as a 911 dispatcher who was also teaching meditation and who was writing a book on stress reduction, which he has finished. Do you want to hold it up, Adam?
Surely.
So the title of the book is?
Stress is Optional, How to Kick the Habit.
Right, and who would know better than a 911 dispatcher how to deal with stress? So tell me, Adam, how did you come to write this book? Was it the stress on the job that was getting to you, or what was going on?
It was definitely part of it, and I thought it was the only part of it. So I had been a 911 operator. I've been a 911 operator now for 10 years. And I had been up until that point for 7 years, and my entire life was filled with stress.
I bet.
And I thought it was a result specifically because of the job, but it was really because I was also gravitating towards toxic relationships. I was also gravitating towards dead-end side business ventures, all in an attempt to save me from this stressful job.
So you're trying to do like other things to get away from the stress, but because you were in a state of stress, the other things ended up stressful, right?
Absolutely. Everything that I touched was stress upon stress upon stress. And in the midst of all of this, I was invited to take a class with my dear friend Julie, who's a meditation practitioner. And her class was called 40 Days of Meditation. And it also included a workbook that guided us through the 40 days of really self-discovery. And I found that in just those 40 days of meditation and really sitting with myself, that I was able to see through the stressful ways of thinking, acting, and being that led me to kind of live in a prison up at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
A
Hey
prison
guys,
with,
I'm back.
Oh, good.
Hey,
Welcome back,
Susan.
Susan.
They cut me off
Oh, well, here you are. You got back in.
somehow.
Through cyberspace, you
Hi,
figured
Adam.
it out. So we're talking with Adam, and you know,
Yeah.
of course, you are actually the one who introduced me to Adam at the Holistic
Oh,
Chamber
yeah.
of Commerce. So, and I was just going to ask Adam.
Go ahead.
So when you came home at night from your day or early morning, whenever it was, as a 911 operator from your shift, did you take that? Were you still in a state of stress? Did it stay with you all the time?
No, it was one thing that's good about the job is that once we unplug the headset,
Leave it
we're
behind.
done.
That's
But I
good.
would say that it conditioned my way of being in the way of thinking. It's difficult to deal with callers in a state of duress.
Yeah, of course.
Every single day for years.
Oh, yeah.
And so we as dispatchers kind of take on a tough shell as a result
Absolutely.
of that. And so the practices in stress reduction practices that I began to take on kind of allowed me to relax and relax this standpoint of being rigid and tense, and suddenly I was able to let go of all of the things that were holding me in this way.
Well, it's an interesting title. You say stress is optional, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about how are you saying it's a choice? I mean, is that what you're saying?
Well, in my own particular experience, when I became aware of how my stressful thinking was perpetuating stress in all areas of my life, I saw through it and was able to relax and be more joyful. So how could I go from being stressed out and miserable to joyful and easygoing in just a matter of months? By seeing it.
That's in the book, right?
Exactly. It's
Do you tell us what we can do to do that?
Definitely. There's specific practices that you can do and to encounter the same transformation.
That's great. Susan, I know you had some questions for Adam too.
Yeah, I want to say congratulations on your book.
Thank you,
very
Susan.
proud of you.
Thank you.
And it's such a joy to work with you. Your client who is so professional and so easy and takes direction so well and just goes ahead and does what needs to be done.
Thank you.
What are some of the tips you can give us that are in the book? Like what could we do today? Anything we could do really
Absolutely. I would say one of the most important things that we can do each and every day is to take some time for ourselves.
That's so hard though sometimes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially as entrepreneurs, as very busy people.
Yeah.
And even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're working in any organization, the tendency is to just get up in the morning and to rush until it's time to go to sleep.
Right, because there's this feeling that we don't have even a minute sometimes, right? So how do we get beyond that? What's the secret?
You just have to take that time. It starts out as, I'm going to do this for me.
Right.
And it can just be 5 to 10 minutes each day, either in the morning or when you come home from work, to just sit and breathe.
I felt the energy when you said, I'm going to do this for me. It was kind of like as if you were saying, I'm going to go to this meeting and I'm going to, show up on time and make a great presentation or something.
Yeah.
It was like, it seemed like you really were focused and you really meant it,
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to do that when it comes to bringing balance back into our life. And that's really the aim of any type of practice that seeks to unplug us from the stress response. Really, that's what we're working to do, because the mind conditioned by stress is constantly in survival mode, hypervigilant. Right. And so by just taking some time to sit and breathe, we actually counteract the stress response, the fight or flight response.
Now, is this cumulative? In other words, if I can get myself to do it for like a day or two, then it's going to get easier to do it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would say in
and,
2
I wanted to jump in here,
Yes,
Jean-Noel,
please.
and say, Adam's out there speaking, and he's speaking to firemen and policemen and teaching them, they are in such high risk situations or stress situations. And what do you share with them? What's the biggest thing or the best point that you can share with them so that they can stay stressless?
Stress-free?
Yeah.
Stress less.
Right, stress less. It's about balance. It's about balance. The work-life balance is a huge thing, especially in emergency services personnel, because they work long hours. They work 12-hour shifts, and the intention there is they only have to put in 3 12-hour shifts, and then they have 4 days off. But they end up not being able to enjoy their time off because they're always in work mode. I mean, 12-hour shifts are long shifts. So really taking the time to, like I said, sit and also to play. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
To find out what brings you joy and pursue that with as much vigor as we pursue our work.
So it sounds like it's a mind shift, isn't it? Because I think that when you get into the habit of stress, it's like I know that I should be doing all these things, but then that survival thing kicks in. It's like if I don't get 55,000 things done today, everything's going to fall apart, right? So isn't it kind of getting beyond that mindset?
It's getting beyond that mindset, absolutely.
Right.
And we have to have practices that allow us to relax that mindset, because we have a lot of practice, decades of practice of thinking in very aggressive terms about the things that we're pursuing and the life that we have to make happen. And what happens when we actually relax? We find out that it isn't going to fall apart.
Really? It isn't? Are you sure?
It doesn't. It
How
doesn't.
about that?
Sure.
I'm sure of it.
We're not sure. That's why I'm sitting at home today from the stress on my back.
Right.
I need your book.
Yeah, Susan needs your book. Now, what tip could you offer Susan? Because Susan, you did sort of get into a stressful place, and you're hip enough to know that, you're conscious enough to know that, your back pain might have something to do with the stress. So, Adam, what tip could you give Susan?
Well, certainly it would start with self-care, making sure, Susan, that you're taking good care of yourself. Maybe you're getting a massage or a chiropractic adjustment, and just taking that time and not feeling bad about being down. I speak with a lot of clients who beat themselves up about not getting as much done, even on days off. But we need, like I said, we need balance. If we don't have balance, if we don't have contrast, we can't actually appreciate the riches that come from the work that we do.
Right. So if you're speaking to, let's say, a group of firefighters or police officers, right? Because you speak to a lot of law enforcement groups, right? Yeah. And what do you tell them? I mean, they take a lot of stress home from the job, don't they?
Well, they don't. What I find that the biggest thing is creating awareness around what stress does to the body. Most people think that this is just the way we live, stressed out, because we live in a culture that's bent on getting more, faster is better. This is the message.
So it's a normal state, right?
The hypervigilant stress response state is what we now call normal. And when we actually see what happens to the body in a chronically stressed state, people go, wow, I feel that way all the time. I feel tense, rigid. I have tension headaches. I have acid indigestion all the time. All of these things are the result of the body's overdose on stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, and that alone is enough to make a shift. And then taking them through a specific breathing practice where they imagine some stressful event, and they enact the stress response. And then actually unplugging from that same stress response and feeling physiologically what's happening, it shows the people in my workshops exactly what's happening.
So you're saying that actually we can deliberately create the stress response and then deliberately, consciously unplug from it and turn it off? Is that... Wow. And now that doesn't sound like it would take that long. No. Like, how long are some of these exercises? Are we talking minutes?
Oh, just a few minutes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And it's in my one hour workshop, 2-hour workshops. Okay. So this is just one facet. It's really about awareness, because with awareness, we can take action.
Now, speaking of
When's
stress...
the next workshop?
Yeah, good. Speaking of stress, when's your workshop? Good question.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Do you have a workshop plan?
It's in-house with the LAPD coming up.
Oh, okay. When you're working with people, I also know that once you posted your speaker listing with us, there were other groups that reached out to you too. We were very interested to see that there were many other people or organizations who needed help, in the same way. What were some of the different groups?
Oh yeah, actually it's been amazing. I would say that my listing on speakerservices.com has launched my speaking career.
That's good news.
last fall.
Wow.
Instantly I booked about 5 speaking engagements with various organizations, accounting firms, homeowners associations. I do have a workshop coming up on Thursday for LA Family Housing as a result of Speaker Services.
Great.
My Speaker Services listing as well.
Great. And I was going to say before, speaking of stress, were you nervous when you first started speaking?
I over prepared for my first engagement that I got from Speaker Services, but I've been involved in Toastmasters for about a year and a half prior to that,
yeah.
and certainly the confidence that I found through my Toastmasters experience is what led me to list with Speaker Services. When Susan approached me at the Holistic Chamber of Commerce meeting, I was ready only because of my weekly involvement with the Toastmasters chapter.
So
I knew when I saw him the first time I was there that he was perfect for Speaker Services. And talking, going back to what Ursula was talking about, synchronicity, as soon as we started talking, I even think before we got his listing posted, I can't remember exactly, a police department called me, and they were looking for somebody. And I said, well,
that was the Los Angeles
you
Sheriff's
about
Department.
Adam.
That was amazing.
Sheriffs, yeah. And didn't you speak for a realty group too?
I did. That was the
Yeah.
California Associations Institute. So it was a conglomeration of homeowners associations and condominium owners. I was their featured presenter.
Wow.
Back in October.
So, Adam, we need to tell people how they can find you.
Absolutely.
Your website, your book, how they can connect with you if you're doing any private coaching or if they can get onto your email list. And certainly through Speaker Services, you can find Adam Timm, Timm. But tell us.
How can we get your book?
Oh, yes, please. You can go to my website, which is zenlifeservices.com. And there's a book tab there where you can get the book, both in ebook and paperback. And then I do work with one-on-one coaching clients to help them relax the stress and see through the stress. Also doing workshops and group coaching.
Excellent. So contact you through, say the website again?
zenlifeservices.com.
zenlifeservices.com. Excellent.
I love the name of it.
Yeah.
And his website's lovely. You go there and you just want to stay there.
And I also want to invite your listeners to download my free report on the site.
Oh, yes, please.
5 simple steps to less stress. So they can just sign up right there and grab it.
On your website.
On my website, Zen Life Services.
Good. That's great. And and let people know. People, if you do that, let Adam know that you heard about him on LA Talk Live. Talk up your biz, speak your way to more profits. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right.
Adam does a beautiful job also as the president of the West LA Chamber of Commerce, the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, which I'm a member of as well. He's changed the whole environment of that meeting. It's just a delight to go there, and you're a terrific leader and a wonderful speaker, and I tell you that all the time.
Thank you so much, Susan.
And that fits in with what Ursula was saying before. It's kind of like get out there, right? Because Adam got out there, and now you're president of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, right?
Yeah, I went
the
there.
West LA Chamber.
West LA, right.
I went there on the hopes that I could someday speak there, and now I'm the president of the West LA chapter. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly what our previous guest, Ursula Mentjes, was recommending, because a lot of times we work alone, we work at home, and we have to get out there, and then those synchronicities happen. Mm-hmm. And I'll bet a lot of synchronicities have happened to you just being in that position, right?
Just opening and opening and opening. It's amazing.
Yeah. What's so beautiful about Adam is, as opposed to other people, he knows how to connect. So when people come to the door, to come into the meeting room, he's there talking to them and greeting them. The connection is so important. It's about the relationship. People want to do business with people that they know and they like and that they connect with. Nobody wants to be sold to. So, that's where it's at, and you're doing a magnificent job.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Yeah, and I'd like to share.
So here's the music coming up
before we leave.
Yeah.
Jean-Noel?
Yes.
May I?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I'd like to share something that Seth Godin said, and this goes along with what Adam was saying. You already have permission, and he says, just saying you have permission to create, to speak up, and stand up. You have permission to be generous, to fail, and to be vulnerable. You have permission to own your words, to matter, and to help. No need to wait. So permission granted to, be in a space of stresslessness or stress less. And I think we're getting ready to leave you right now. And I want to tell you that next week on March 11th, our guests will be Judy Learman and Carrie Flintom. And you can see that information on our blog site or on LA Talk Live. And we'll meet you again next Monday at 5 p.m. at latalklive.com. Jean-Noel, you want to take us out?
Right. You've been listening to Talk Up Your Biz. Speak your way to more profits on latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk.
Thank you to our guests this evening, Adam Timm and Ursula Mentjes. You were magnificent. We appreciate you and we love you. And you bring a lot of joy to us and to all the people that you touch. Good night for now.
Planting a seed in my soul. Let your love shine in my soul. Let your love shine. Let your love shine. Let your love shine. If you let your love shine. Planting a seed in my soul. Let your love shine. Oh yeah, let your love shine.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk